WSM. This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
It is as it was. Eric Markham is our studio director today. That's where it all started back in 2020. Circle Country, welcome in.
Slumming it with the commoners this morning.
Right there.
Yeah.
He now runs this outfit. I said off the air, we're getting the band back together. And Charlie said, I want
my
a
own
separate
bus.
I want my own bus.
Kicks, you let me use your bus for this tour.
Welcome all over the world, Circle Country Television, circlecountry.com. You can link to your favorite streaming platform when you get there with Charlie Matos. And ladies and gentlemen, she's very modest. The 2025 Miss Costco winner, Kelly Sutton, is on the scene.
I didn't even know.
I didn't know they had a competition.
I know.
I heard a Costco story on the way in this morning about extended hours or some promotion they were doing, and I thought about you. I thought, she's got an apartment there at the one near her house. I'm just sure of it.
Well, they know me.
I know they do.
The funny thing is, you used to just show your card when you'd walk in. You just flash your card to them and go on in. And now they've got a scanner. And so now you can download the barcode on your phone and just bloop when you walk in.
Well, I just figured you had it in your right here.
I'll get it tattooed on my arm. That way I don't have to pull it out of my wallet.
On your forehead.
Smart.
That would be perfect. That would be perfect.
I need to do that with my company ID because I've always got something in my hand, a cup of coffee, my computer bag, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I got a key in.
Yeah. You know what we finally got, and we toyed with it for a long time, but same thing, going in the house, trying to get the key and get into the house. So we finally got one that has just the punch pad so you can do the code, but it also has a thumbprint.
Oh.
So you put your thumb on there and it unlocks.
Fancy.
Yeah, it's really great. So I had to get my parents' fingerprints in there so that they could get in, and Grandpa Dave's got a fingerprint, and then so just about anybody can get in my house these days. You just put your finger down, you might get in.
So does every day feel like an Airbnb? Because that's the only time I ever see those kind of locks.
It's kind of great.
Yeah.
It's great until all of the batteries stop working, and then you're like, oh, I forgot. Now I got to get a key. And it's 4 AA batteries. So,
Okay.
So that's not fun. But I'm highly enjoying just the little bloop bloop as we go inside.
So this was
It's
a
nice.
conversation we had a little bit earlier about the weather.
Yeah.
And the Trash and Treasure show that we did on Friday when it was in the mid-90s.
I'm glad you survived, by the way, and you don't have any, I thought you were going to come in blistered by the
damage.
sun. I was worried about you.
I sunscreened up big time before I left the house, but it was 89, felt like 95, I think, when we got off the air. And Charlie and I were reminiscing about the year that we set the all-time high for Nashville, the record high, and that we were on the front porch of the drugstore. Happened to be a Trash and Treasures Saturday broadcast. And it was June 29th, 2012.
Okay.
And Nashville reached 109.
13 years ago.
And I think we were at 102 or 104.
Over 100 for sure. Yeah.
When we got off the air that morning. This temperature now, we're not factoring the heat index into this. But that is the record high. I looked it up. So 109, June 29, 2012. What do you think the record low is?
I don't know, 40?
No, the record low all time, Nashville.
Record low. I thought you meant on this date.
No, I think it's like 7 below or something like that.
It's probably got to be a negative. I'm going to go 10 below.
17 below zero. Temperature, no wind chill. January 21, 1985.
Okay. Yeah, there was one 7 below zero morning where I remember walking around downtown and I was the only one out there.
Well, I wonder why.
Kind of nice. You had the whole city to yourself.
From WSM Radio, this is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
From the Assembly Food Hall stage, please welcome Ashley Brooks, the Georgia Gypsy, this morning.
Hey.
She's just looking for a home. Got no place to live, no permanent residence. Just
You know it.
Just a gypsy.
Just can't decide between Nashville and Georgia at this point.
Where in North Georgia are you from?
So I'm in the place called Ball Ground, and people are thinking, Georgia, you're from Atlanta. North Georgia in the mountains, Ball Ground, so Cherokee County.
Oh, how close are you to Helen?
I'm not far from Helen. We do a lot of trout fishing over there.
So pretty.
Oh, yes, gorgeous.
Everything in North Georgia is gorgeous.
It
So-
is.
It's also home to our studio sponsor, Springer Mountain Farms in
that's
Baldwin, Georgia.
There we go.
Yeah.
Go Georgia.
Gus Arundale and Springer Mountain Farms and the Simply
Awesome.
Superior Acuff House Studio. You're in Mr. Acuff's living room.
Well, that's awesome. I didn't know that. That changes the whole vibe.
And you can't see out because we have to pull the shades because of lighting for the studio for television. But the entrance to the Grand Ole Opry House is right there.
What an amazing experience. I'm
But
just
you
happy
got-
to be here.
You got to pass the artist entrance on your way in.
I know.
with
And
a-
I'm hoping. Milestone, right? It's coming, hopefully.
Next
Manifest.
time, instead of driving by, you get out of your car and you go in, right?
That's what I said. I said, I'm not taking a picture under it until we're walking in.
That's right. Oh, I like that.
You know?
You got to have something for the dream board.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's a nice prelude because the wood that you're sitting on is the same wood as the circle at the Opry House.
Oh
So
my
early
gosh.
1950s Ryman Auditorium.
You're closer than you thought.
How amazing.
yeah.
Well, this is a huge step.
Yep.
Well, great.
Well,
now,
and you've opened for Bryce Leatherwood. He's playing the Opry tonight. So see, it's all intertwined.
he's like from the same area as me, actually, like literally miles down the road.
Did I not read that your parents heard you singing and said, you should try out for American Idol or something?
yeah.
And have you ever done reality competition?
You know, I'm not going to say anything negative, but you got to have a good story for reality TV. Okay. But I will say it all kind of started with The Little Mermaid when I was little. My mom heard me singing in the bathroom. She's like, come here, sing that again. And I'm just like, look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? She's like, okay, let's talk to your dad because he's a guitar player, right? So anyway,
Oh, so that's where the music is in your family.
Yeah,
With your
my dad.
Is he in a band?
with me.
Oh,
I've stolen
works.
him.
It's like Eddie Arnold. He works for me.
I literally, when I got old enough and, you know, he went through his phases of being with bands and I'm watching him growing up and I'm like, hey, you want to be in my band? He said, well, write a song and then we'll talk. So rest is history.
What song did you write?
It's called Getting Old, about boyfriend's lies getting old, your dog's getting old, your parents getting old, because my parents are like my best friends. So it's bittersweet.
Oh, that's sweet. So was guitar the first thing that you picked up, or did you start on piano like so many do?
So my mom actually had a piano in the living room, and it was her mom's, and it was old, and I'd just always play around with it. But guitar was definitely where I gravitated to, watching my dad. I started playing when I was probably like 8, put it down for probably a decade, never picked it up again until like 5 years ago.
Really? Okay.
So your dad was your guitar teacher, or, or
and
you self-taught?
He's my guitar teacher, but he's not very patient. Do it this way. I didn't say to put your hand there. Look at this. So
Like teaching your children to drive a manual transmission.
literally.
A
So
stick
Dad
shift.
has been a great guitar player. My bass player, Glenn Stout, has been a good teacher throughout the years of my journey that's in my band. So, you know, lots of great help.
So what'd your folks do growing up?
So my dad actually owns a plumbing company. So we say he's a plumber by day, rock star by night when we're on the road. My mom works for a corporate company. She started at the bottom. Now she's moved her way all the way up to the top. So hard work's kind of like been instilled, you know, in my bloodline through both of them.
You were a state karate
Oh
champion?
my gosh, how do you know that? I whooped a couple butts in my day. No, but yeah, I mean,
The Georgia state champion?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I could have went to Hawaii to go for nationals. My mom said, well, we have to get on a plane. I said,
No.
really?
I've never flown.
No kidding.
Still?
Waiting for that opportunity, but it wasn't then.
Oh, wow. But that gives you certain discipline. I mean, when you're going for something like that, then you know that work ethic.
Yes.
Have you transferred that now to your career? Because
Oh,
we
yeah.
talk to a lot of guys, especially that, you know, played football, played basketball or baseball, they get
Right.
hurt, and all of a sudden they're like, okay, that mentality, I'm just putting it into my career.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I work a corporate job at the hospital still from home. So I have, you know, that work ethic there. And then I just kind of take all that and put it into my business, which is my music. And, you know, we've kind of grown it from a seed. And here we are at the WSM studios. So it's just crazy what hard work can really do.
Well, I was looking at the people you've worked with. Bryce, we referenced earlier, Bryce Leatherwood,
Yeah.
Clay Walker, who just played the
Oh my
Opry, the
gosh.
Oak Ridge Boys, Aaron Tippin. What did you learn from those folks by watching, or did you have a chance to have a one-on-one and get advice?
The biggest thing, like opening up for all these artists, the thing that has to be there besides hard work is you have to have the heart and the love for it, because it's not going to be easy. Things aren't always going to go smooth, okay? But if the heart is there and the love is there for country music, everything will work out. That's kind of what I've been doing, at least.
What interesting name, Ball Ground, 2 words,
Mm-hmm.
Georgia, your hometown. How did it get its name?
So, fun fact, because I actually looked up that too, because people are like, where are you from? Ball Ground. Where's that?
Because when you say it, you don't realize it's 2 words.
The Indians back in the day, the Cherokee Indians, they played a game called ball ground, and it was a ball on the ground. I know it's a crazy story.
Like
I wish I had a better
of
one.
Soccer, maybe? Something like that?
Kind of like some sort of thing like soccer. I mean, I'm guessing. But yeah, there's pictures of them running around. And anyway, it's kind of not the best story. I wish I had a more interesting explanation for ball ground besides the ball on the ground.
But there's got to be the only one.
Yeah, I don't.
In the United States, I would think.
I
There's
can't say traveling that I've seen another ball ground.
Well, you've traveled a lot. Got a new single we're going to feature, and I love the title of this thing as soon as I saw it. Red Dirt, Green Grass, Blue Sky.
Thank you.
Did you write this?
No, I didn't write this one.
Okay.
Joy Beth Taylor and some other great artists wrote it, which are popping out some hits for Ella Langley right now and other great artists. But I was super excited to get the cut for it, and yeah, I hope y'all love it too.
This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Welcome to the Simply Superior Acuff House Studio, Mr. Acuff's living room on the Grand Ole Opry Plaza. As we continue with Ashley Brooks this morning, we heard Red Dirt, Green Grass, Blue Sky. I was thinking about CMA Fest. We're fresh off CMA Fest, and you had a great week, including playing AJ's, Alan Jackson's place. Didn't you have a fan club party there or something?
Yeah, the label that I'm tied with, Drop Tine and March of the Revolution, did a whole takeover there. So it was like a private thing. It opened up. It got crazy. It was a good time. That week in itself, I think everybody in this town's like,
So there's a video of you walking in somewhere singing Fancy from Reba's catalog.
Oh.
Where was that?
So we actually played for some sort of private event back home, and
okay.
someone took that video and posted it, and it started to trickle around. I'm like, okay, I like that now.
That's a good thing. So when you were in high school, you obviously were already interested in music. Were you part of the choir? Were you doing theater? Like, what were the things?
No, remember she was a karate champion.
I was going to say,
kicking people's
karate.
heads off.
But, you know, she's multifaceted. She's a multi-hyphenate.
Thank you,
So,
thank you.
yeah, were there other ways that you were exploring music when you were younger?
So I actually was in chorus, like in elementary school and orchestra. I did a couple plays, but when I was in middle school and high school, I was too cool for all that. I was, I was too busy being a teenager, but then I came back to my roots, and here we are.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love that. She found out the good music. She came back.
exactly, I was too cool running the roads.
You were talking about having a full-time job and then doing music when you find the time. You're back and forth to Nashville how often?
I mean, honestly, I'm here at least every month, if not multiple times a month. And it being a short commute, it works out, and it's fine because I have a farm at home with goats and pigs that depend on me to eat. So until we're ready to make that move, we'll just kind of keep going back and forth.
How long does it take you?
About 3-4 hours.
Did you drive up this morning?
So I have a good friend that drove me up this morning, my bass player, Glenn.
So did you sleep?
Oh, I did. Yeah, don't pan it over to him because he'll say her mouth was wide open. She had her blanket on, kickback, seat warmer. Where are we at?
Yeah.
Have we passed Buc-ee's yet?
Yeah. Make sure you stop at Buc-ee's.
We got to stop at Buc-ee's. Got to get gas.
So tell us where you're going to be playing in the days ahead.
So, you want to know what song I'm playing today?
Well, we're going to get to that in a minute,
Okay.
but I'm just talking about tour dates.
Oh, yeah. We have all kinds of cool stuff. So we're actually getting to open up for Mark Chestnut this summer. Super excited.
So glad to hear that because I'm just happy he is back and on
Me
the road
too.
after the health scare.
Yes, and we were actually supposed to open up for him last year, but he had the health thing. So we ended up opening for Bryce Leatherwood, which is great. Hometown boy. He's awesome.
I love the way you say Bryce.
Bryce.
Long Y.
So yeah, I clearly have an accent. That's going viral on TikTok right now with like 3 million views. So I'm glad you said that because I'm like, am I faking when I sing or what's going on?
That's why you were able to sing Reba so well.
Okay, yeah, nail on the head.
I like it. I like it. Well, what are you going to sing this morning?
All right, so listen, we got home from CMA Fest and my boyfriend, he's a lineman. He got called out, and he was on his 30...
And when she says that, that's
Like
a
football or
Wichita?
Okay.
Wichita.
So he's a lineman for the power company.
Oh,
so
okay.
14,000 volts, right? And he was on his 34th hour of work after getting home from CMA Fest taking care of me.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm writing a song about the boys in Red Wings, which is like a type of boot that most construction linemen, the steel toe guys.
Red Wing, Minnesota.
Hello.
Yeah. So what's your man's name?
His name is Connor Cook, and he works lots of hours.
So he is a lineman for the county, so to speak.
He's a lineman for the county.
And how long y'all been together?
So we've been together 6 years, and if you're listening to this, where's the ring? Our parents were best friends. That's how we met, actually.
Was he from Kentucky? Because you made that reference in the song.
No, it's more of like a Hank Williams Jr. Type of line from one of his songs that I kind of like threw in there. And then Redneck Crazy, Tyler Farr, shout out there. You know, got to support the other artists.
Well, I hope you get a Red Wing endorsement very soon.
I hope so too, because that video has like 200,000 views on it. They're wanting it. And I'm like, guys.
I have to tell you, as a kid growing up in farm communities, my dad was a pastor. Except for the businessman, standard uniform was a Western shirt, khaki work pants,
Love it.
Red Wing boots, and you can't find them anymore, but rough outs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Instead of the smooth leather.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, man. I mean, I could just close my eyes and just dozens of men come to mind that I grew up around.
Funny that you say that, because somebody just commented before I came on here and said, this song reminds me of my dad.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, see, I want it to remind you of that, whoever that man is or woman, you know what I mean? But just
You need to dress your band in Red Wings.
Exactly. Red Wings or whatever steel toe boot. People are commenting trying to argue. Ariat, Thorough Goods. I'm like, guys, the point is it's a blue collar person.
That's right.
So anyway.
And things need to rhyme.
I know. I don't care who.
So who were you when you were a little girl holding a hairbrush, singing into the mirror?
Well, what do you mean, who am I? I'm right here.
No, I mean, who did you want to be?
Oh, sorry. Honestly, Leanne Womack, and I know that's not a popular answer.
Oh, gosh, what a great answer. She may be the best female singer in this town.
I love you. So I know that's like such an unpopular answer, but her just way she sings, her tone, her dictation, everything about her, and her vocals, her range, Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
So.
And just absolutely perfect mic technique.
My
She
goodness.
just gets it.
Yep.
Well, Ashley, it's been a delight. Ashley Brooks here this morning.
Thank you. I
Coffee
appreciate
Country and Cody. All the best. Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Please come
Appreciate it.
And here we are on the Opry Plaza. Charlie was there last night. Big red curtain went up at 7 o'clock on the first Sunday night show.
First Sunday of the summer. Yep,
Yeah.
indeed.
And I'll be there next Sunday. Are you there tomorrow night, Kelly?
Yes. I think so.
Let me look at your line.
Oh, you got Bryce.
is today?
Got
Hey.
Bryce Leatherwood
Yes.
there tomorrow. That's always fun.
yeah.
You gonna make
Drew
Bill-
Baldridge.
Is Drew going to be there
Yep.
tomorrow? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
You gonna make Bill Anderson mad again?
Gary Mulder. Yeah, Bill is there tomorrow too. He's kicking off the show.
I had on
Not
Gary's
until
shirt.
Kelly tells him he can get
Listen. Gary Mulder gave me 2 shirts, and I wear them more than any other merch I've ever bought in my life.
No kidding.
I had it on yesterday, and we had a friend that stopped by the house, and he looked at me and he goes, "Who is that?" Because it's a caricature of Gary with the big hair. And I said, "That's my buddy Gary Mulder."
And he looks like a caricature
He does.
in real life.
He kinda
too.
does.
But yeah,
Okay.
you got a great lineup. Bill Anderson,
Yes.
Appalachian Road Show, Drew Baldridge, Gary Mulder, Bryce Leatherwood, whom we referenced with our friend Ashley Brooks. She's open for him. Maddie and Tay, and Riders in the Sky, and Don Schlitz, Country Music Hall of Famer.
Oh, that is a fantastic show.
Yep.
Also, Maddie and Tay, if you're listening, bring all the babies. I'll take care of them backstage. So
They do, and you will.
I will introduce them holding as many children as I can. I'll put one on
You
this
got
hip
the
and
gift,
this
girl.
arm.
You got the
I
gift.
love it. I love it. Bring me all the babies. Okay, we talked about this earlier in the show. It was a proposal that happened under the strangest circumstances, but it was absolutely perfect for this couple. So, in case you missed it, Paige and Bryce. Paige is Paige Berdomus. He is Bryce Shelton, no relation to Blake that I know of. They take pride in storm chasing. They are a storm chasing couple. They've been together for years. They were in South Dakota, and this really powerful tornado is developing, and they are watching it develop. And just then, he drops to one knee. This is video of it forming. Look at that. That does not look real.
It looks like an elephant's trunk. It really does.
I
it
have
is that.
never seen a more defined funnel. Isn't that crazy? And here she is in her Crocs, bless it. Everybody was giving her grief about wearing Crocs, but she's out storm chasing, y'all. You're not going to have on a cute dress and have manicured nails if you're storm chasing. But yeah, she goes by Tornado Pagey in case you want to follow her. And this is what they do. They are out chasing storms. They happen to be in South Dakota. Again, watch this develop. This is crazy.
Look how black the sky is.
Now, we've been in tornadoes. I've been in several tornadoes. Bill, you've been in tornadoes. Charlie, have you been in?
Looks like a snake.
Have you been in a tornado?
No, I've just seen Twister.
Okay.
Oh, no, I've been in one in the heart of downtown Nashville when it blew through in
97?
In 97, yeah.
Really?
I watched it out my window.
Oh, wow.
That looks like CGI. It's so good.
No,
Yeah,
it clearly,
it was, that one looked more like a spout, almost like a water spout, the way that it developed, and it was such a thin
Yeah, that's a good
funnel
description.
cloud. Yeah. So just, and here's the crazy thing. Y'all, I was like, who does this? And when I did a Google search, engagement photo tornado, it was so many. So apparently this is a thing. If you're a storm chaser, you're supposed to get engaged in front of a tornado.
Now, if you'd like a safer option, just do like many do. Take the Opry tour and propose in the circle.
There you
Yeah,
go.
no danger there.
A little bit easier. Yeah.
Where's the degree of difficulty of that? We'll make this an Olympic event.
Well, it's a 50-50 shot at best anyway, right? In the long run. So
did you had tornadoes in Rhode Island growing up?
No.
Pretty
no,
rare.
No, blizzards, nor'easters, but not tornadoes.
No, we had them all the time.
We had hurricanes.
Oh,
They'd make their way up.
did.
But yeah, every once in a while, one makes its way up the East Coast far enough.
Well, everybody got to have something.
Yeah.
You know.
8th grade band. I'm sitting there in my flowered dress playing my little flute solo, and the alarm went off, and they stopped the entire performance and made all of us go to the bathrooms and hide because there was a tornado coming.
Okay, so I was in high school, but what song were you playing that the flute gets a solo? We didn't have the flute
I
solos
don't
in the Cumberland
remember.
High School band.
I don't remember. It wasn't
Doing
just
like Jethro Tull.
I shouldn't say it was a flute solo. It was more like the all of our flute section.
the woodwinds,
The
perhaps?
woodwinds.
Oh, okay.
Got a solo, and it was a big moment. And all of a sudden, someone stood up and said, "The tornado sirens are going off. Everyone go to the bathrooms." And we hid in the bathrooms with my flute in the bathroom until it passed over. And
Great
then we
family
resumed.
story. My late grandfather, Harvey Lee Robinson, Irishman. Quite a temper, apparently, because I never knew him. He passed before I was born. But the story goes from my mama that tornadoes were coming. They went down in the root cellar, and he hit his head because they had 11 children.
Oh,
So
That's a big cellar.
yeah, so they were all
Yeah.
he hits his head, gets mad, makes them all come up out of the cellar and go back in the house.
as a tornado's coming.
Didn't hit the house, but I just love that.
Well, my head hurts, and I'm mad at all of you. So certain death is upon
That's
us.
right. We're all going to die together. Doggone
And we're
it.
gonna die. We're gonna die together.
Look at my head.
Okay. This is pretty cool. A new charity has been born out of all of the bachelorette parties that are happening in Nashville. So the article that I read said it was confirmed over 30,000 bachelorette parties took place in Music City over the past couple years. I don't know if that's 10,000 a year, 20,000, I don't know, but it's a lot. And if you go downtown over any day, it doesn't even have to be a weekend. You go downtown, you see them. They're everywhere. So pink cowboy hats, lots of drinking, but honestly, after all of these ladies are here having a big stay, they have leftover water, or maybe they went and got groceries and they didn't eat all the stuff, and they've got peanut butter that they never opened. So now the really cool charity has been born out of this. It's called Batch Bank, and they will come and pick up whatever leftovers you have and go donate them to local food banks like Second Harvest. And I thought, well, you know what? That's kind of brilliant. Instead of throwing all of this stuff away, if it can be repurposed and used for the good of the community, then let's do it. So if you're coming, that's just another reason to come with your bachelorette party to Nashville. You feel better about all of the leftovers.
Just keep in mind, if you leave it in the fridge, we're going to take care of that for
We're
you.
going to take care of it. And then this was a really cool story. Loretta Lynn's late husband, Dew, has been honored. This was for his service during World War II. And Loretta famously said, I really didn't know that much about it because it happened before I met him. But he was in a battalion that was deployed in France and Germany, and his unit suffered so many tragedies. He was one of only 6 men from his platoon who survived. So he was recognized as a World War II Ranger with a Congressional Gold Medal Award. That was at a ceremony in Washington, D.C., and one of his granddaughters was there to accept the award on the family's behalf. But I just thought that was really, really cool that now he's got that gold medal.
More Coffee, Country, and Cody is on WSM.
Y'all, Christmas has come early, courtesy a Santa fortune over here.
Santa fortune.
We got books, we got DVD, we got CDs, Kelly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it is halfway to Christmas. You do realize
that's
that.
true. It is, isn't it?
It is halfway to Christmas.
Yeah.
It's
Plenty.
getting a jump on everybody's Christmas shopping.
Plenty of time to buy.
There you go.
Jimmy Fortune is here, fresh off an Opry appearance and a member of the Statler Brothers and in the Country Music Hall of Fame. And the new book is called Story of an American Dreamer, which I have here. And there's a companion CD we're going to hear music from in a little bit. CD, DVD, Songs of an American Dreamer. And it's out now. Gaither label, but recorded at Ricky Skaggs' place.
Recorded at Ricky Skaggs' newly renovated studios. Really nice up there in Hendersonville.
Well, you know, in Virginia, where you grew up, you know what they say. Wonder what that set him back.
Oh, you got that right. I can't imagine. But, well, we had a good time. Sharon and Ricky, they actually hosted my DVD with me. And when we went into his studio, they sat there and we told the stories back and forth. And it was a special time. It really was. And the way we recorded it was we went in and we all sat around in a circle. I had Mike Rogers, Ben Isaacs, Janae Fleener, Jeff Taylor, Sidney Perry, and Stewie French. We all sat around in a circle, and we put the mics up and put everything down right there. There's no overdubs, no nothing, and everything went down live. Wow. And, of course, Ricky played along with us, too. And it was a special time. It really was.
How proud you must be to see Sidney Perry every night up on stage with Carrie Underwood.
Oh, I am so. I used to tease her all the time. She came to me crying one night. She said, I said, what's wrong, Sidney? She said, well, Carrie Underwood wants me to come play with her. And I said, well, what are you crying for, girl? You ought to be celebrating. I said, I know you're going to have to take a little pay cut, but go ahead.
One of my favorites, I saw Sydney backstage, and I said, how on earth, because she was back there, she was doing some warm-ups, and I said, how on earth do you keep up with her? Because she is matching harmony. I mean, in addition to playing and just being a superstar, she is matching harmonies with Carrie. Yeah. You got to match that note for note. Yeah. And she said, I am over here warming up for an hour, and that one goes over and goes, okay, I'm ready. I was like, seriously? She said, yes, she's hardly warming up, and I'm over here making sure an hour beforehand I'm going through all of it.
Sydney's a hard worker, and she really worked at it, and you know, because I mean, she was so good. Well, I knew how good she was. She's got one of my favorite voices because she sang with Patti Lovelace for years, and that's kind of where I heard her. And then we got to know each other, and so whenever I started, Patti stopped touring pretty much, and so I asked Sydney if she wanted to come out and sing with me, and she said yeah. So she was with me about 5 years, and her voice, when she starts singing with you, it's like literally air under your wings. I mean, it's just that good.
That's what Vince used to say about Dawn Sears. He said, when you've got somebody that is just rock solid every single night,
exactly,
you have no idea what that does for your confidence.
Yeah, and well, I miss her, I really do. But she's on this project with me, and I wasn't going to do it without her having her there because, man, she's just so good.
That's awesome.
You mentioned when Patti stopped touring. Take me back to October of 2002 and that final show. And I'm curious, I don't think I've ever asked you this. Obviously, it's a legendary show. I mean, it was recorded, there's video, people loved it. But in the back of your mind, 'cause nobody really ever quits, other than Barbara Mandrell. Everybody comes back for the second farewell tour. In the back of your mind, were you thinking, this will last a few years, but I don't know, 4 or 5 years, we'll get it back together, we'll go back on the road? Or did you truly know that this was it?
There was a plan that we had. We were going to actually try to record some more. You know, we weren't going to tour more or less, but and so I was kind of really looking forward to that. And then Harold had some problems with the surgery he had, which messed his vocal cords up, so we couldn't do anything. And so you know, there I was and thinking, man, that night I think "Amazing Grace" was the last song we sang.
Salem, Virginia, wasn't it?
In Salem, Virginia. And 2002. And I mean, it just hit me right there, and well, I was thinking about it all the time anyway, but the reality hit me, and I remember I couldn't even hardly sing "Amazing Grace." I couldn't hardly get the words out. The tears were coming down, and that 21 years, almost 21 years, was just all these memories coming back to me and everything. And I remember getting back on the bus. We were changing, and I'm usually all the way back in the back, and then there's Harold, and then Don, and then Phil in our closet, in front of our closets. And I opened my closet door, and I just sit down on the little stool there, and I bawled like a baby, thinking, about all those memories and everything, and then wondering, knowing in my heart that I wanted to keep on singing because I didn't want to stop, and wondering where it was going to go from here, and so it was a tough night. It really was for me. And I think the guys, I know Harold was kind of ready. He was kind of ready to get off the road. I didn't know how bad he felt at the time, but he was feeling pretty bad. I think his kidney situation.
Ultimately,
and he kept a lot of it to himself. I mean, he didn't complain to us or anything like that. But I knew he was hurting, and I knew because you could tell when he would come off stage that he was feeling it. And I thought maybe we at least had another 5 years or something. I was like, please, and I didn't want it to stop. I didn't want it to end because it was a good thing for me, but it went by too fast, and so I knew that I was going to have to continue on. But I knew that I didn't want to do anything to compete with the Statler Brothers. That's why I didn't put together a group or anything right at that point. I just said, Don gave me the most important advice anybody could ever give me. He said, Jimmy, I know you're scared about it, but he said, look, we loved you when you came in the door. We fell in love with you, and you didn't have to do anything but be yourself. And he said, if you be yourself when you go out there and you do your music, do what you feel in your heart, he said, you're going to be okay. And he told me that. It helped me a lot. It's a good advice, And
he is in the league of extraordinary gentlemen.
From a big brother, man. I mean, those guys were like my big brothers that just took me under their wing, and because I was 26 going on 12, man. I was literally. I never knew why in the world they picked a kid like me out of Virginia to come with the most awarded act in the history of country music. I'm standing on stage with them, and I'm looking across the stage, and I can't believe it, because. I was from nowhere, Virginia, and we used to hear the Statler Brothers, and I was on the radio. But it might as well have been on the other side of the world.
Oh, sure.
From me, because I just felt like I was so far out of that. There was no way I was ever going to make that connection.
How far is Nelson County, where you grew up, from Stanton, where famously the home of the
35 miles.
Oh, that close?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not very far.
Well,
but
you truly saw the world with them then. They showed you the world.
Met my heroes. The stories are in that book. The people that I met and people that I used to watch on TV when I was little, with Gene Autry and Elizabeth Taylor and everybody who's in country music. I mean, my daddy and I used to sit and watch on TV, Hee Haw, and then all of a sudden I don't have a cell phone back then, so you can't really call anybody and say, but my daddy, I always wanted to call him and say, Daddy, I'm sitting here next to Gene Autry, and we're talking, and Pat Buttrum's next to me and everything, and we're telling stories, and I wanted,
Well, heck, Marshall Grant was your manager, road manager, who worked with Johnny Cash famously.
Yeah, he started with Johnny Cash, playing bass, and the stories that we'd sit up on the front of the bus going down the road, and I laughed so hard at him telling stories about Johnny Cash. Man, I mean, he got some of the best Johnny Cash stories ever, and I miss him too, man. He passed away a few years back, and but what a great guy he was. He really was, and he helped me a lot when I started out after the Statler Brothers retired. Marshall really took me under his wing and helped me too.
Merle Kilgore was a great Johnny Cash storyteller, so much so that one day I was so out of control with laughter. They said if we didn't calm down, they were going to kick us out of the Bob Evans on music.
Out of Bob Evans.
I've been kicked out of a lot of places, but never a Bob Evans. So tell me about End of the World, which is what we'll close this segment with from your album, and this is Songs of the American Dreamer.
That song is very important to me because End of the World, Skeeter Davis had hit on that thing back in, 61 or somewhere around in there. And I remember hearing it on the radio. My daddy got a car, brought it home, and this is the first time I heard country music, and I went to school, and I was in the first grade, and first time I went into the big bathroom in the school, I discovered reverb. I walked in there, and it was like you could hear my voice going, And I'm like, man, this is really cool, you know. So I went to class, and I thought about it for a little bit, and I told the teacher I had to go to the bathroom, and she let me out. And so I went in the bathroom. I was standing there in the middle of the bathroom by myself, and I started singing that End of the World. And I remember my voice coming back to me, and it's when I heard it for the first time kind of coming back to me, and I discovered, I said, you know, I have a voice. You know, that's when I first really discovered that I had a voice. I sang the whole song, and when I finished up, I heard this clapping behind me, and I turned around. It was my principal, Mr. Shelton, was standing there. He said, "That's good, little Fortune, but you're going to have to, you can't stand in here and sing all day. You're going to have to go back to class." he grabbed me by the hand and took me back to class and told my teacher what I was doing in there, you know. And so that song was very important to me, and I wish was able to record it back then. But I did go back to that bathroom recently, and I stood in there and sang that song.
How about that?
And so I wanted to put that song on there because I think it's such a beautiful melody, and I love the words to it too.
Story of an American Dreamer is the book and songs of an American Dreamer. That's the new CD and DVD work from our friend and Country Music Hall of Famer with the Statler Brothers.
Coffee, country, and Cody.
And on the Assembly Food Hall stage, Jimmy Fortune, Country Music Hall of Famer with the Statler Brothers. And just recently played the Opera. You got a Third and Lindsley gig on the 15th, July 15th. Yep. That's coming up. And Don Reed wrote the foreword for your new book. This is called Story of an American Dreamer, and there's songs of an American Dreamer, the DVD, CD combination. And he says, the only problem I have is that he should be 50 feet tall, because that's how I think of him. Wow. 50 feet tall and all heart. Thanks, my old pal Jimbo.
Well,
Don Reed.
Don's my big brother, man. I'll tell you what, he's looked out for me so many years, and just saw him last week. We visited and everything, and he was. We were reminiscing a lot, you know, about things. We just couldn't believe how fast that time went by, you know. But the thing about it, I told him, I said, the only thing I don't like about what you wrote is that what you wrote about my book is better than my book.
He's writing novels in his retirement.
He's so good. He's so smart, man. Yeah. One of the smartest people I've ever known.
There are all these cute pictures, and I opened it up, and there's a picture of you. You are in 7th grade, but you are in a full suit and tie. And I said, it looks like you had algebra, and then you were going to go sell a house right after. But you have these great pictures in there of the family, too, and just your first 6-string. How long did it take you to find and curate all these photos? Because I know that must have been a while just to get all of it together.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big process with it. I started about 8 years ago, and
so when's the sequel coming?
Well, I don't know. This will probably be the only book I ever write. I would work on it. I moved to Nashville 21 years ago, and when I moved in, of all things, there had been so many God things in my life. I moved in next door to the man that helped me write this book.
Really?
And it's Dave Clark, and he's written about 26, 27 #1 Christian songs, and he's a Christian songwriter, and one of the sweetest people and the biggest hearts of anybody that I've ever known in my life. And we got to know each other. We only met a couple of years after I lived there. I mean, we met out in the yard, mowing the yard one day, and we started talking, and he realized who I was. I realized who he was, and it began a great relationship. And so he helped me write this book, of all things. And you're right, going through all the pictures and everything. I mean, there's thousands of pictures that I didn't even get to put in there. And like the stories, one story leads to 100 more stories. And when you get into writing a book, you don't know when to stop. You don't know what are people going to like? Are people, take people down a road where they sit there and go, start yawning, and so you got to try to figure all that out too as well.
I was just looking at the titles of the chapters. It starts with Virginia Dreams, Old Friend I Call Home, which we're going to play that song to close.
Yeah.
Precious Memories. But when I got to Just As I Am, your father was a drinker.
Yeah, he was.
But was converted by Jerry Falwell.
Right.
Is that right?
Yeah, Daddy was an alcoholic, and Mama was a prayer warrior, what I would call a prayer warrior, and she would always every night, get on our knees and pray for my daddy to quit drinking. And us as kids thought he was never going to quit because we knew he had it pretty bad. And but anyway, everything kind of came to a head one night. The story's in the book in our family, and my dad said he was kind of had walked out of the house and gone to the car. We thought he was leaving. He came back up to the front porch, and we were standing on the front porch, and my mother's name was Bird. He said, Bird, he said, I've tried everything I know to quit. He said, but I haven't tried Jesus. And he said, Jerry Falwell's coming to revival this week at our church. He said, I'm going to go tomorrow. He said, I'll go with you. And he went, and he ran up to the altar that night and just laid it all down at the altar. And it was never the same after that. And my daddy quit drinking. And my whole family family life was just totally different. Even though I loved my daddy before.
And how old were you when that happened?
I was 12. 1967.
Really, influential age.
Yeah. And so I saw what a man that had been at the bottom and lost about everything, how God turned his life around. When I saw that as a kid, I said, if God could do that for him, he could do it for me. And so, sure enough, in my life, I had the same kind of thing happen. So, I know what a woman's prayers can do, man. I'm gonna tell you, my mama spent a lot of time hard. She probably had some big calluses on her knees because she spent a lot of time on them. I can tell you that.
Oh, like that prayer warrior.
Yeah.
Okay, I saw another picture. Tell me about Champagne Jam.
Champagne Jam was the last group I was in. I was in a group called Amber. And we were playing 6 nights a week, 4 hours a night. And then I was trying to put together a group that I thought could make it maybe in kind of the pop world, And so I put these guys together, and we called it Champagne Jam. I was practicing with them, with the other group. And then when the Statler Brothers called me to come over and audition, and then, long story short, they wound up hiring me. And I said, hey, I gotta give notice to the groups I'm in right now. And they were so kind about it. And they said, well, you just take your time and everything. So I had to go back to the guys, and I said, I apologize. I said, and they said, what are you apologizing for? My God, it's the Statler Brothers, son. Go do what you got to do.
Kind of like you told Sydney, we know you're going to take a pay cut.
Yeah, you're going to take a pay cut. No more champagne on this tour. I
was working 3 jobs to make ends meet, and they were going to pay me way more than that just to have one job. And I was like, you can imagine what this little old country boy thought. I'm like, my God. I mean, I couldn't believe it. It was an unbelievable story. It really was.
What did your dad do?
Daddy was a logger. He would cut timber. He was that was his main love. And he played a little bit of mandolin, but not much. But he was a hard worker, and so I never did. I never could understand why he loved it so much, but he did. I used to go with him and help him as a kid in the mountains and things, and I'd be on the end of a crosscut saw with him, and I'm like sitting here going, why does my daddy love this so much? Because as soon as I can never have to do this again, I am never going to do it.
I'm going
to play music, man.
Jim Ed Brown and Charlie Daniels come from Timbermen. Their guys were too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Old Friend I Call Home. Yeah. Writers credits: Jimmy Fortune, Mikey Rogers, and Zach Runquist.
Yeah.
Set that up for us.
That song, I went home to a place that where the last place that we lived as a family, 9 kids and mom and daddy, was this old house that we lived in down on the Rockfish River in Elson County, Virginia. And of course, we moved from there and moved to our home place and a few miles from there later on. But that was the last place that I remember all of us being together. And so not too many years ago, someone turned it into a bed and breakfast, really fixed it up really nice. It was worth $2 million, and it was for sale, and the guy was having an auction. It was a Duke from England had it. And I saw they were having an auction, and so I went there, and I said, I really wanted to visit. I hadn't been there in years. And I walked through the door, and my daddy could have bought that place back in the 60s for $8,000 for 85 acres, the house, and everything. So,
man. And
I walked through the door, and the first thing I saw on the wall was a mirror. It was a beautiful gold-plated mirror and all this stuff, and they wanted $8,000 for it. So this Duke from England walks up behind me. He said, son, you see anything here you can't live without? And I said, yeah, Mama cooking in that kitchen and my daddy putting wood in that stove, a family holding hands around a table sharing what people never know. And I said, it's pretty with new paint and priceless treasures, but to me, it's just my old friend called home. And so I got that song idea from that. And it was great visiting that place, but it didn't look the same. But I could use my imagination and see us, how we were running and laughing and playing and in the hallways and things like that as a kid. But that's what that song's about, and I thought it was appropriate that song be in my story.
An appropriate way to close this morning, Jimmy. Thank you so much. Love you, and congratulations on your Hall of Fame status with the Statler Brothers and all the great things that are going on. And the story of an American Dreamer, the book, Songs of an American Dreamer, the DVD and CD. And you're going to make so much money, you'll be able to go back to logging.